Dr. Gutman, trustees, scholars, future donors, my friends. I'm truly humbled and honored by this opportunity to testify on this, the night we celebrate the Jewel of Penn, its scholarships. This is my story, and it starts in Swaziland with Pindile, a girl child, and that walked 6 miles to school. Her father, a farming man, felt it's silly to teach girls, but Pindile, my mother, kept on going. She sat outside classrooms waiting, so during recess and after school, she could ask teachers and friends what was taught and learned that day. This continued until in defiance, she left her father's village with one bag and no diploma. She moved to Simonye, a small town, semi-urban, built around a sugar factory. She worked as a maid, sending shares of her pay home to help educate her younger siblings. With the help of her employer, she became a receptionist that then met my father, Musa, but Papa was a rolling stone. And Pindile had birthed them 2 boys and was pregnant with the third, me, the cutest of her children. When at 8 months pregnant, Mama was kicked on the streets to be divorced as father started courting his 2 new wives. Jilted, she worked and borrowed for her children. She moved up the ranks to become a debt collector. At her pay grade, the sugar factory, her employer, would subsidize the education of 1 child per employee. So she had to pick. So she chose Sihle, the eldest, to go to posh schools while the rest of us went public, hoping that if he made it, the rest of us would follow. Surrounded by wealth and bright city lights, he lost himself and the place at the school. So mother had to pick another. She chose Kaya, the second eldest, the wisest of us all. But years of public school education, mismanagement, and underfunding made him a child left too far behind to compete in the battleground classrooms with the elites. So mother had to pick another, and the privilege fell on me. Through a cocktail of sugar money, bursaries, and loans, I was transferred into a good school. I learned English, math, how to read and write. Then suddenly, as in the first Harry Potter book, at the age of 12, my world changed. We heard rumors of a scholarship to a school in the mountains, where at the wooden desk sat the children of the king himself. And so in a borrowed car, we drove up to this Hogwarts with a trunk full of dreams. They took me, paid the fees, accepted me as their own, and began to mold me as such. I now was living 2 lives, one in a bubble and one in Swazi soil. In my bubble, I used a fork and knife for the first time, looked people in the eyes. I sagged my jeans, saw Cartoon Network and MTV. I had my first pizza, lasagna, and ribs. For the next 7 years, I was learning the magic of constructing and deconstructing the world through art and science. Outside my bubble, in my muggle home, a long bus ride descending into the drought-ridden flatlands, there things were different. The things we spoke of in my ivory tower high school were being lived. World trade agreements led to downsizing and my mother being let go. Gender bias laws saw her barred from owning land due to being party in a divorce. Centralized development meant that she couldn't find work without moving her children and becoming a squatter in the city. With my mother unemployed, we moved back to the village and have been raising chickens since. Every 6 weeks, we get 200 chicks, pray for no illness, and raise them to sell at market and church. Once a month, we take our ration card to the World Food Program truck, where we get grains, cooking oil, and beans. For 7 years, I flipped between 9 months in my pampered bubble and 3 months in a rural reality. At home, I felt powerless and forgotten. We had no libraries, post offices, internet, or community centers. People worked in the fields and frowned upon dissent. The one day, as though getting into Hogwarts once more, a letter arrived at the church from Penn. You took me. Knowing I had no money, you accepted me as your own to become a part of a powerful cohort of talent and have raised me up as such. My mother did not know who, where, or what Penn was. All she knew is that it was good. She traveled for 2 months to see all our relatives, her friends, their friends. She told them of the news and asked them to help her send me off. Then on the weekend of my departure, she gave me everything she could. Her hopes, a pair of shoes, unyielding love, new underwear, and $300. My name is Makho Sbanze, third-born son to Pindile Tobile Dlamini. I'm the fifth of Musa's 13 children. I come from a forgotten Swazi village, the subject of a king who rules through a system of feudal chiefs and village decrees. My village knows no paved roads, police stations, nor clinics. We are invisible, appearing on no maps, living in a space that Google cannot name. Your gift is not tuition. It was being seen. I have stood an equal among my peers. I have worked with the greatest minds. I have led incredible teams. And I have dreamt of things that for mother I could never translate. And you gave me this passport to sit at tables that had never set a place for my kind. I now sit in the minds of past leaders and future leaders, a village ambassador that will take home this world and its knowledge. You have made me your kin, and of you I am now a gladiator in a suit that will enter the boardroom coliseums of this world fighting as a champion of the forgotten. I stand here today, a monument to my people. In this moment, I commemorate a kinship that has molded me out of the rainless soil of Swaziland, dressed me in wings cut of the concrete of Philadelphia, and raised me up to stand on this mountain, tall, proud, and yours. We are the bright sons and daughters of Penn. And in this moment, as we shine, our blood is red and our veins are blue.